Welcome to this explainer. Look, if you're a modern professional, you know the exact exhaustion I'm talking about, right? You wake up, grab your phone before your eyes are even fully open, sprint through this packed corporate schedule, and then crash at midnight. And somehow, despite all the productivity hacks and optimization, you still feel like you're falling behind. Well, today I'm putting on my executive coach hat because we are looking at a framework from our source material that completely dismantles that toxic hustle culture. We're diving into a spiritually grounded, incredibly effective productivity system that's actually been around for over 14 centuries. It's a real game changer.
But first, I want to hit you with a pretty massive question. Why are you alive? And what are you actually doing with the hours you've been given? Yeah, I know, it's heavy for a workday, but we need to break out of that autopilot routine for a second. We're setting a serious, reflective tone today because this isn't about downloading another Pomodoro timer or color coding your calendar. This is about your ultimate purpose.
Okay, let's dive right in. Here's the agenda for today. 1. The modern productivity trap. 2. Barakah, the invisible multiplier. 3. The original time blocking system. 4. 5 principles of Barakah. And 5. Protecting your time and rest. Let's get to it.
All right, section 1, the modern productivity trap, and exactly why hustle is failing you. I totally get the shared pain of corporate burnout. You know the drill. Optimizing every single minute with 5 different apps, trying to multitask during your commute. And yet, at the end of the quarter, you're just empty. You literally feel like time slipped right through your fingers. You've managed time, sure, but you definitely haven't mastered it. To figure out why this happens, the source material points us to a really profound chapter from the Quran, Surah Al-Asr. It translates to, "By time, indeed humanity is in loss." Think about that for a second. This is a massive metaphysical statement from the creator of time itself. It establishes that time isn't just this neutral, infinite resource. It's actually a depreciating asset. We are all, by default, in a state of loss. That is, unless we structure our lives around faith, righteous action, truth, and patience.
See, secular modernity's view of time, which we get from the Enlightenment, is super mechanistic. It treats time as linear, completely neutral, purely quantitative, and basically infinite. The logic is, manage enough of it, and you win. But the Islamic view presented in the text flips that completely. It frames time as sacred, layered, qualitative, and most importantly, an amana. That means it's a sacred trust given to you by God, and you will be questioned about it. Not all hours are created equal, guys. Moving on to section 2, Barakah, the invisible multiplier. If time is a sacred trust, how do we actually maximize it, especially in high-stress environments? Well, this is the ultimate return on investment. The source defines Barakah as settled abundance. Basically, it's a divine grace that causes things to grow way beyond their logical limits. I want you to really internalize this for a second. Barakah is the experience of getting more out of an hour than time logically allows. It's like when 1 hour of deep work produces what would normally take you 3. And the kicker? It's not achieved through frantic hustle. It's achieved through grace and aligning yourself with your true purpose. The source text captures the urgency of finding this barakah with a pretty heavy reality check from the Prophet Muhammad. He taught that on the day of judgment, a person won't even be able to move until they are asked about 5 specific things. And the very first ones, your life and how you spent it, and your youth and how you used it. Just think about that in terms of your personal KPIs. Your primary accountability metrics aren't about your wealth, or your stock portfolio, or your fancy corporate title. They are entirely about your time. Which brings us to section 3, the original time blocking system. We are going to look at the daily routine of the Prophet Muhammad, but frame it for the modern corporate mind. Honestly, it's the world's oldest and arguably most effective human performance protocol. Check this out. His day didn't start by groggily scrolling through emails in bed. It started in the deep, quiet, before dawn with the Tahajjud, the night prayer. After the Fajr dawn prayer, he spent the most productive morning hours on remembrance and community affairs. Midday, that included dedicated rest. The afternoon wasn't for back-to-back Zoom meetings, it was reserved for deep work and consultation. And the evening was strictly for family, followed by an early sleep. This is just brilliant. Aligning your schedule with fixed prayer times and natural sun cycles absolutely crushes any modern caffeine-fueled productivity hack out there. And get this, 15 minutes. That is the exact optimal window for a midday nap, which is known in the tradition as Qailula. The Sunnah recommended this short midday rest 14 centuries before Silicon Valley even thought about installing sleep pods in the office. Neuroscience literally just caught up to prove that a 10 to 20-minute nap significantly boosts cognitive performance and keeps your afternoon productivity from crashing. Mind-blowing, right? All right, Section 4, 5 Principles of Barakah. This is where we shift into the highly practical stuff. We're going to take these ancient, profound concepts and turn them into direct actions for your Monday to Friday corporate grind. Here are your 5 actionable takeaways. 1. Build a prayer-centered day. 2. Guard the morning. 3. Practice deep monotasking. 4. Maintain an austerity of schedule. And 5. Practice muhasaba, which means self-accounting. Let's zoom in on that second principle for a moment. The morning is considered the absolute most barakah-rich window of the day. The Prophet actually made a specific prayer for blessing in the early mornings for his people. So for us modern professionals, reclaiming the time after Fajr means actively fighting the urge to check Slack from bed. It's a genuine spiritual struggle to capture those ultra-productive, hyper-focused hours before the daily corporate fires start burning. And when it comes to focus, the texts highlight 2 concepts, khushu and ihsan. That basically translates to doing one single thing with present, humble focus and absolute excellence. Contrast that with our normal baseline today. Constant multitasking, massive mental fatigue, and, having 50 open browser tabs. The Islamic principles are fundamentally anti-distraction. If you want barakah in your projects, you have to embrace deep monotasking. Actually doing one thing with your full presence prevents that horrible mental fatigue that just destroys modern workers. Which leads us to Section 5, protecting your time and rest. This is the absolute bottom line for sustainability. See, modern corporate culture treats rest and relationships as inputs, meaning you rest just so you can work harder tomorrow. But in this framework, rest and relationships aren't inputs, and they definitely aren't distractions. They are the actual sources of a productive, barakah-filled life. Take this really beautiful verse from the Quran. Your spouses are a garment for you as you are for them. Investing in your family ties, actually being present at home, and maintaining righteous relationships, none of that is taking time away from your career. In fact, the tradition teaches that maintaining these ties actively extends your lifespan and expands your provision. Basically, your home is a literal generator of barakah. So the crucial point is, what actually generates barakah versus what steals it? The source material is crystal clear here. Barakah is generated by sincere intention, meaning you do your work as an actual act of worship. It requires ensuring your earnings are completely halal, or ethical and permissible, and practicing constant gratitude. On the flip side, barakah is totally drained by heedlessness, just drifting through life, relying on unethical or haram sustenance, and idle speech, which, let's be honest, today looks a whole lot like endless doom scrolling on social media. If you want to multiply your time, you've got to ruthlessly audit what fuels your spiritual productivity versus what's draining it. And that naturally brings us to tawakkul. Honestly, this is the ultimate cure for corporate productivity anxiety. Tawakkul means making your absolute best effort. It comes from that famous tradition of tying your camel first, meaning do the practical, strategic work. But then, you completely release your attachment to the outcome, knowing that it's in God's hands. You are responsible for the effort, you are not responsible for the outcome. Just imagine the mental bandwidth you'd free up if you stopped agonizing over things you literally can't control. As we wrap up, I want to leave you with one final provocative question. Are you managing your time, or is time managing you? A good life isn't just a busy life. It's a life where time doesn't leak away into distraction and regret. So my challenge to you today as modern professionals is this. Stop optimizing for emptiness. Start living a purposeful, barakah-filled life. You've got this.